So we know why we're here today. We're here today because the economy is broken. Today, a tiny sliver of wealthy individuals and giant corporations hold the majority of this nation's wealth, while working families are struggling more and more just to make it day to day. Americans know that this economy is rigged in favor of billionaires and giant corporations, and rigged against everyone else. And it's not hard to see how this happened. In industry after industry, a handful of corporations have seized power in this country. Since the 2000s, the number of major U.S. airlines has dropped from 9 to 4. The 4 giants left standing now have nearly 80% of all airline seats. 2 giant corporations sell more than 70% of all of the beer in America. 5 health insurance giants now own more than 80% of the country's health insurance market. 3 giant drugstore chains suck in 99% of all pharmacy revenues in this country. 4 giant companies now run more than 80% of America's beef market, and the list goes on. This kind of concentration matters. It matters because giant corporations crush competition. They shut out small rivals and they kill young startups. This matters because giant corporations jack up prices and cut corners on quality. This matters because giant corporations put the squeeze on wages. As profits have gone up, wages for American workers have gone down. And this matters because many giant corporations don't win in marketplaces because they're better. They win because they are big. And most of all, this matters because giant corporations can swing their weight around Washington, accumulating massive political power, the kind of power that can capture our government and rig the system even more in their favor. Corporate influence over our government has gotten worse under the Trump administration, far worse. President Trump has stacked his administration with a who's who of big-time lobbyists, Wall Street bankers, and corporate executives. Now, America has faced this problem before, more than a century ago, when railroads and steel mills and oil companies grew to monopoly size. Congress passed antitrust laws and broke up those powerful corporations, and competition flourished in this country. But for decades now, government has slacked off enforcement of those laws, and the result has been bigger and bigger corporations with more and more power. Democrats are ready to take this challenge head on. That's why we're here. Head on. And that starts with leveling the playing field to make the economy and our political system work for working families. That's why we're here. So today, let's be specific. Democrats propose new policies to bust monopolies and restore competition in our markets. We want stronger enforcement of antitrust laws. You bet we do. We want tougher rules against anti-competitive mergers, tougher rules to tackle the problem of control over data, tougher rules on post-merger review. And we want a consumer competition advocate to make sure that someone besides the giant corporations get heard in Washington. Now, make no mistake, these are pro-market changes, the kind that Teddy Roosevelt advocated when he broke up the big trusts, the kind that anyone who believes in competitive markets, Democrat or Republican, should be able to agree on, because they would make our markets healthier and more competitive. Let's face it, America is getting richer every year. But for working families to get a share of that prosperity that they're creating, we need some serious enforcement of competition laws. This is one step that Democrats are offering to take back